Just think if Tesla used silver as their battery form instead of lithium. You're driving a Tesla, and after 10 years, it'd be worth 10 times what you paid for the car. You're driving a Tesla. Keith, it's great to see you again. Here we are in San Francisco for, I think, the 4th year since we moved the Silver Summit, or it's actually the Silver and Gold Summit, from the Spokane area. So. We've both been feeling a bit of heat from me, my subscribers, and you, some of your shareholders and workers, because silver's been in the doldrums. Before the interview, we talked about the fact that neither one of us would have felt that we'd see silver prices in a 14 handle near the end of 2018, yet here we are. You've done a lot to mitigate the lower price in silver by increasing your efficiencies at your projects in Mexico and elsewhere. Can you just give us an overview of where the company is now and where you think you're going over the next few years?
Yeah, it's, well, nice seeing you again, David. It's been, the last 6 months or 4 months have been particularly difficult because, based on what happened in 2016, where we had that big rally in silver, and we had a modest correction, I thought fairly confidently that we're in the midst of a new bull market. And we entered 2018 at basically $18 silver, and today it's obviously $3 lower than that approximately, which is tough. For us, that $3 is 90 million in revenue. It's a big number. So we came into 2018 pretty optimistic, ready to spend money on exploration, on development, and now all of a sudden, based on just the last couple of months, we're now laying off people. We're now cutting back exploration, we're cutting back development, and it's like 2014, 2015 all over again. And it's a little bit disappointing, well, more than disappointing. I am shocked with the current metal prices, but I remain optimistic. I think that 2019, 2020 are going to be much better years, and we're ready to take advantage of it. But in the meantime, we just have to be very careful.
There's been so many new uses for silver. I mean, it's the most used metal out there, and it's the most diverse asset commodity-wise, except for crude oil. And yet, even though the production rate has increased over the last several years, up until the last 2 years where it's kind of leveled off, we've had an above-ground build in stockpiles. I mean, we've gone from a low of 2006 of about 500 million ounces now to roughly 2 billion, maybe 2.5 billion ounces. What do you attribute that buildup to besides the production? You think it's the fact that there's just not as much investment demand as there was due to cryptocurrencies or the stock market in general?
Yeah, I've read your articles, and I've also listened to many of your programs or speeches, and I've not been able to confirm the above ground supply as you have. I think your numbers are probably higher than most. We're a member of the Silver Institute, so we look at supply demand, and of course no one knows exactly. A lot of guesswork goes into it. Samsung or Sony are not going to tell you how much silver they consume. It's secret.
I'm not telling you how much.
Or Toyota is not going to tell you how much silver they use in their cars. They keep it very, very secretive. So a lot of this is a bit of a guessing game. But based on the Silver Institute's analysis, we've seen supply drop 2 consecutive years from about a peak of about 850 million ounces to the current level of about 800 million. We don't know what the 2018 numbers are yet, but I'm gathering they're going to be lower. You look at Fresnillo's numbers, Coeurs numbers, our numbers, all the silver production worldwide appears to still be in a decline, yet consumption continually rises. Last year the solar panel industry consumed 90 million ounces of silver, the most ever, and it looks like that's going to keep going north. So in an 800 million ounce market, you got one buyer of 90 million, and that's growing by whatever number, 10 or 20% per year. Then you've got electric vehicles, electric vehicles consuming approximately three times more silver than a normal fuel combustion car due to the computer that's running the thing. And so you got a lot of demands on the silver side, and electric cars. VW just came out a few weeks ago and said by 2030, every single car they're going to produce is going to be electric. And no one's talking about. I know Robert Friedland runs around and talks about copper. But no one seems to talk about silver. Everyone seems to ignore silver. So I've seen deficits consistently occurring over the last 20 and 30 years. So if there is a big build going on that you're referring to, I don't know where the heck it's come from.
Well, we've seen it, if you look at CPM's report, and also even the Silver Institute. In fact, we used it as a slide, I think 2 or 3 shows ago. They said it was the largest inventory of silver they've seen in 14 years or something like that. Regardless of whether it sits above ground or not, doesn't make it good or bad. What it really indicates is, that we have it, it's available, and at what price. That's a real key, is what price, because as you so eloquently demonstrated, there's more and more uses. So in the time frame that we've had this build or not, we've seen the demand on the industry go from 35% of the market to 55% of the market, and that's at a time when the supply or above ground asset was mined at 550 million ounces on an annual basis, and now we're at, say, 800 million ounces. So think about that. Going from 35% of the market was at 550 million total mining supply to 55% at 800 million ounces on an annual basis.
Yeah.
That's a lot of silver that's demanded just by industry. So the part that makes the price move is investment demand. So I'm going to ask again a little bit differently, maybe, that it seems that margin of investment demand, and I know the Silver Institute, I'm friendly with them, I've spoken at their shows, everything else, they show a deficit. The way they do the numbers, they're correct. As far as looking at the above ground build, I'll present what I can. But I think a lot of investment demand has gotten stale and tired. They've heard the silver story, it hasn't gone the way they expected it to go, so they've left silver for cryptocurrencies or gone back into the stock market or done whatever. Do you see any of that? I mean, you talk to shareholders.
I agree with that 100%. Oh yeah, for sure. We sell silver off our website, and we used to sell 100,000 ounces a month of silver coins and bars, and we're down to about 5,000 ounces a month.
Okay.
Which is ridiculous.
Yes.
So you could walk into any coin shop in probably North America and load up on all the silver and gold you want to buy. That's the retail side. Back in 2010, 2011, the retail demand for silver was extraordinary, and that's what drove the price to where it actually went to. The commercial demand is, as you pointed out, is increasing every year, but it's that inflexibility of that investment demand when the institutions, when the hedge funds, when the investor that we're seeing here at this conference want to buy silver. That's what makes the price move.
Yeah, exactly. So having said that, what do you think it's going to take? What kind of a catalyst, besides what you've outlined, maybe electric vehicles or whatever, but what's going to get the investor to say, I just want to own silver, I got to own silver, I got to own a silver company, and get us back to that place we were from like 2009 to 2011 where we get this momentum and people just can't stop getting enough silver. We've been at the opposite end of the spectrum now for a couple of years.
Well, I think it's going to be one of two things. There's the macro environment, which is key. Where everyone wants to buy the NASDAQ or the S&P and then the US dollar, and everyone's shorting the emerging markets and metals, of course. The short positions from the hedge funds and on our stock and on the metals is at historic highs. And so that's the trade. And people are, why buy First Majestic or silver when you can go buy Amazon and be up 10% in a month, right? And it's been doing, hedge funds have been doing very well on that trade for a couple of years now, and eventually it ends. So, and as it did in 2000, 2001, when it all came to an end, and over a 3-year period from 2000 to 2003, the NASDAQ was cut in half, and silver was $5 in 2000, and it went up 10 times, to $50, and gold was $250, it went up 8 times to $1,900, and those are the kinds of moves I'm expecting to see happen when this new bull market actually starts to take hold. Or the other thing that could happen is there's a supply shock. And that's that's harder to actually visualize. But look, if you got VW, all of a sudden manufacturing every single one of their models electric, and the consumption of silver that's required to accomplish that. And then you've got all these other technologies, solar panels growing at leaps and bounds. At some point, don't you think there's just going to be, they can't get the silver?
Yeah.
And they're paranoid to talk about it. We're getting phone calls from these direct end users, looking for silver supply. But I've asked them face to face, because they've been in my office in Vancouver, saying, how much silver do you consume? They won't tell you. They won't tell you.
Well, you can't.
And if a headline ever hits the newspapers that all of a sudden Sony can't produce their televisions, or Toyota or Tesla can't produce their cars, or whatever, that's going to be a game changer for the industry.
Well, when Warren Buffett bought 130 million ounces of silver in 1999 approximately, the price moved up $3, and he was only delivered 90 million ounces. And the big rumor at the time was he had a battery technology. So I've always played this thought experiment. It comes back to the electric vehicles. Just think if Tesla used silver as their battery for them instead of lithium. If you're driving a Tesla, and after 10 years, it'd be worth 10 times what you paid for the car.
That would be pretty exciting.
But what people don't know is a mil-spec battery, they use a lot of silver because they don't care. I mean, they're the government. They can write as big a check as they want.
Sure.
So there are probably some, in fact, I'm going to be doing an interview with one of these, what are considered the woo world, let's say outside the box double thinkers about the possibility of the new electrics, and I don't have time to go into that because I don't understand it that well. I'm going to be asking questions, not saying much. But appreciate your time always. I think you're right. I think the next leg up is going to be the most massive leg ever. I think it's going to be driven twofold.
Yeah.
It'll be investment demand comes back, because once the dollar really starts to crumble and the stock market's going down, the bonds are correlated to stocks this time, then there's really no place to go outside of the commodity sector, and the top tier of the commodity sector is money. Yeah. And the best money in the world is purportedly gold, but believe it or not, history shows it's been silver. So there's a lot of people out there with small pocketbooks that could flood the market. Is there anything you'd like to let our viewers know about First Majestic that we haven't discussed?
I covered it earlier, but just go to the company's website. We're always looking for ways to grow the business. We've doubled the size of the business over the last 6 months through acquisitions, and we need to obviously absorb that acquisition. It's a big project, and we need to always focus on reducing costs in this difficult environment. And we're very dedicated. I put the company together 16 years ago now, and it seems like only yesterday, quite frankly. But we got a great team at the company that goes to work and works hard every day.
Great. Okay, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.